a very brief introduction to Jed and to the club, just a description of the SunX group. And you've seen this, many of you, if not all of you, before, but I wanted to precursor Jed's presentation by putting it in the context of the way that the SunX group has evolved. But up at the top of this slide, you can see you all came in through the diploma on education. And then we are putting you now in the chapter framework where you will lead a local activity in your own country, all aimed at producing a climate-friendly travel community. And in the center of this diagram, you see climate-friendly travel eco badge. This is the eco badge for people who are embarked on a climate-friendly travel pathway. And it dominates all of the activities of these 7 small circles around it. It's the reason for why we're doing this. And when we started, all we had was and this is just 3 or 4 years ago, was Ollie and myself and a diploma course. And slowly, Pratishta, who was one of our first students, became involved in helping us put that diploma course together and is leading the education impact. We realized that we needed to move from education to action, and that's why Maud has been brought on with Lena to help run a chapters program. And a key element of this is the third red dot, which is the registry with Hans Friedrich. So this was the original organization up till about a year ago. And the green circle we called our portal, and we've now in the process of evolving it into a research platform, and it will provide strategy and academic and numerical support for all of these other activities. And then in the last 6 months, because we felt the need to expand this program, because we feel there's an appetite for it as it gels, we've structured 3 entities seen in blue on this diagram. And those 3 entities are designed to help implement programs in your countries. And that's why it's so important that you're going to have here a presentation from Jed Brown. And Jed is a man that I've known for 20 years. He has a huge amount of experience in the aviation field, and he is the founder of a program called Low Season Traveler, which is a unique program, which we're in the process at SunX of making a sort of core strategic agreement with, because the principles of Low Season Traveler, and I'm not going to get into Jed's presentation at all, the principles are so aligned with the principles of climate-friendly travel. And there are three blue elements. And then at some stage, you'll hear from Lee Her, or Helly as we call her, who is leading a facility which is trying to find support for education and capacity building programs to support your work as chapter leaders on the ground in your countries. All of our focus in the last 2 years has been pivoted to focus on supporting the poorest countries. All of them are designed to focus on youth and young people. And this is the niche that we're trying to carve out. And we're only able to do this, this is my last comment, we're only able to do this because we've had a continuous support from the government of Malta and Leslie Vella, deputy head of the Malta Tourism Authority. And I'm happy to report we've just renewed our agreement with the Malta Tourism Authority for another 5 years. So our program overall is well embedded. And then the 3 blue areas, which we set up as social enterprises, that is, a portion of their profits is going to go into the facility to help do those good and positive things, particularly with young people in your countries, and managed through you as chapter leaders. All of these are very new, and you're hearing about the club in detail today for the first time. And this is the background to having Jed involved with us. I'm so pleased that Jed is a part of our framework, apart from being a very well-known and very competent guy. He's also a really good guy to work with, very collegiate, very imaginative. And I look forward to hearing him presenting the club, which we've spent a lot of time on helping position it in the overall tourism and climate space. And I'll hand over to you, Jed.
Oh, thank you very much, Jeffrey. And it's my honor and privilege to be here to speak to you today about the Climate Friendly Travel Club. And I'm going to get straight into it by sharing my screen, which hopefully you can all see, correct?
That's right, Jed.
Yep. Okay. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to start off today. I'm going to tell you about the club, of course. But first of all, I want to tell you a little bit about the why. You know, why we do this, and why we're doing it as an organization, why it's the right thing to do, and why personally I absolutely believe that it's the right thing to do as well. So I've called the presentation "Travel, We Have a Problem," because boy, do we have a problem in travel. It's that challenge of how can something that does so much good around the world in the form of travel, in form of experiencing new things, experiencing different cultures, engendering peace, in terms of contributing globally to 9% GDP globally comes from travel and tourism. 1 in 11 jobs comes from travel and tourism. 6% of the world exports, and 30% of service exports all come from travel. How can something so utterly wonderful and good have effects that do so much harm? Here we have, and some of you might be familiar with this, the overcrowded scenes around a single kill in Africa. So again, you're seeing signs of over-tourism. Tourists go home, which is daubed on the walls of places like Barcelona and Dubrovnik. This is this image at the bottom here is in Greece. And again, when you look at these, I just think of the lives of the locals, the people who actually live here. What must it be like for them, let alone being one of the throngs of tourists? Not necessarily a great experience. So it's a bit of a challenge, really, that something that does so much good can do so much harm. And it's further compounded by the fact that the world's poorest and most vulnerable are hit the hardest. And what you have here, I know the writing is very, very small, but what you can see here is a map of the world where the green countries are the ones from who are relatively wealthy, generally speaking. So the darker the green, the more relatively wealthy they are, and the more in red and the oranges are not as wealthy. And yet this is where the emissions have come from. This is the per capita CO2 emissions from aviation and tourism related activities, where the darker the color, then the more that they are culpable and responsible for that. So it seems like it's the relatively wealthy countries which have been obviously contributing far more to the emissions. And it's where tourism needs aviation, and it absolutely does. We need aviation in order to get all of the good benefits of travel and tourism. And we know that the aircraft fleet size is going to double by 2040. And that's according to the Boeing and the Airbus Outlook reports. But one of the challenges is that there isn't enough sustainable aviation fuel. We need to do something about that. That's a real problem for us because the world absolutely needs aviation. And sadly, at the moment, aviation is not climate friendly. As per the IPCC, we know that we have to peak our greenhouse gas emissions in 2025, reduce them by 50% in 2030, and net zero by 2050. That's a really big challenge for aviation, and aviation is a huge part of tourism.
The real challenge we have globally is that mankind produces 4,000 times as many emissions as we did in the pre-industrial era. And most of these carbon offset projects are about planting trees. There's not room on the planet to plant 4,000 times as many trees. It simply can't be the answer. And the problem with it is it's the easy solution. It's the solution that if you're sitting in the C-suite, you can write a check and check the box and have a marketing message that I've offset all my carbon, but you really haven't done anything.
And that's one of the real challenges that we have, is that the solution so far seems to be, from airline companies and others, hey, I can just offset. So if I'm buying my flight, I can pay to get a seat next to the window, and then, hey, I can pay £100 or £200, and I can offset my emissions, and I'm guilt-free. And as that gentleman there is a guy called Scott Kirby. So he's the CEO of the world's largest airline, which is United Airlines. And he's the head of the biggest airline in the world. And he is there telling you, quite rightly, that carbon offsetting is not the solution. Most of it is about planting stuff, planting trees, a large part. And there's nowhere near enough space on the planet for all of the trees that you would need to offset the emissions from all of the flights that we do. So offsetting isn't the answer, but it seems to have captured people's imagination. People seem to think, oh, you know, it's okay if I fly over to Kenya or Zimbabwe, I'll just offset it and pay £50 or whatever, and then I don't need to think about it. And that's just not, it's just not right. And that's one of the challenges that myself and Jeffrey were pondering, and the rest of the team, over the past couple of years, and trying to think of a better way for people to compensate for their aviation emissions. So that's when we came up with the concept for the Climate Friendly Travel Club, a social enterprise that's going to make travel better, fairer, and more resilient for everybody. It's a loyalty club, effectively, for climate conscious travelers. So if people who are really considerate about the environment, they want to travel in a sustainable and climate friendly way, we wanted to have a place where they can find a whole raft of properties all over the world that are really making concerted efforts to be more sustainable and have, you know, climate friendly initiatives at their core. We focus on destinations that actually need tourism. This is how we're also different at the club. You know, you don't find on the club pages, the destination pages, you don't find Greece, and you don't find Spain, and you don't find France, because frankly, they get enough tourists as it is, and they don't necessarily need the greater economic lift of tourism. We instead focus on the destinations that truly need tourism. So we focus on the least developed countries in the world and the small island developing states, the ones that absolutely need aviation, and they need tourism, and they need more tourism as well. And we want to help them with that, because we believe that for every traveler that is directed towards the Climate Friendly Travel Club and goes to these destinations, then the impact of their tourism is far more positive than it would be if they were to go to Greece or Spain or France. So we've really highlighted these destinations, and I know some of you on this call are from these destinations, but wherever a traveler sees either of these logos against the destination page on the website, then that's a badge that tells them that if they travel to that destination, just by going to that destination, they are actually doing some good. And when they see that sign, they know that their travel to that destination is going to make a really positive impact. And here you can see how it's presented on the website. So, you know, when you scroll down, you'll see there Nepal is one of the LDCs, again, so people know that it's one of the countries that will really benefit from their tourism. Some of them have parts of both organizations. They're LDCs and they're small island developing states, the likes of Samoa and the Solomon Islands. Sao Tome and Principe is also in there. And they're also the most vulnerable to climate change. And that's why they need our support as travelers, as well as the travel industry. We support climate conscious partners. Our properties are all part of the Climate Friendly Travel Registry. So they've all come in via the registry. They've all outlined what they're doing to try and be more climate friendly and sustainable. And only once they've joined that registry community do they then come onto the Climate Friendly Travel Club. And each one of them provides exclusive discounts and offers for members that are seeking, they're providing offers for our members who are, of course, seeking sustainable options when they travel. And another key thing to point out here is that when the clients are making bookings, the members are making bookings, they go directly through to the accommodation provider. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. We don't want there to be any economic leakage to a third party out in the Netherlands or somewhere else. We believe that, all of the money should remain in the destination. So if a traveler is booking to stay in a beautiful lodge in Kenya, then that money should all stay in Kenya. 20% of it should not be going to some, online travel agency or facility in the global north. It should stay where it's going to do more good in the local community. Again, to us, it feels like it's the right thing to do. And our members, our members that join are people who are climate conscious. They tend to be more the youthful market, the next generation, and they are incredibly conscious about the environment. They care deeply about the impact that they can make on the planet around them. And they make their decisions based on environmental impacts. They prefer to stay in properties which have got sustainability and responsible tourism practices at their core. And we help ensure that their travel has an impact on the local economy, so that there isn't the economic leakage, which I mentioned before. And our partners are world-class.
Everyone has a travel story, something memorable and impactful. All of us are travelers looking for that perfect something, and we're all interested in planning with more sustainability and climate-friendly objectives in mind. I'm Jeff Kiszczak, CEO and co-founder of Trippian, and we're helping with responsible in-destination travel planning using personalization, AI, and data-driven recommendations to enhance the local travel experience. Trippian was founded around the core objective of supporting local businesses, merchants, and attractions. We do this by directing travelers to these locations that may be off the beaten path and away from the crowds. And our goal is really to support these local economies. We're very honored to be part of the Climate Friendly Travel Club and look forward to supporting their initiatives through innovation and partner collaboration. Our goal is to help everyone in the club feel and act like a local wherever they go.
And we're delighted to be working with Trippian, because what Trippian is allowing us to do, and I was just doing a test on the Trippian element of our site just before, what they're allowing guests to do is to plan a truly local itinerary, as Jeff, the CEO, said there. And that's to encourage people to get off the beaten track so that they can see those hidden gems and go to locally owned and run businesses, which again need tourism, and they need the economic lift of tourism. So we're going to help travelers by going there. The tool is super, super cool, and that's available to all members of the Climate Friendly Travel community, and it's accessible through the website. Another one of our partners coming up, oops, if I can get it. Oops, sorry, that's just clicked to the end. Oh my gosh. Another one of our partners here.
I'm Prerna, the founder of EcoPlore. EcoPlore is an aggregator for sustainable eco hotels based out of India. We have personally visited and verified more than 250 eco hotels all across the country in India. And all these hotels are made up of mud, wood, bamboo, stone, or local architecture. And most importantly, all of them have a minimum of 33% tree coverage inside their campus. They also fulfill sustainable measures like rainwater harvesting, composting, solar panels. They grow their own vegetables, fruits, and many others. I'm glad to be an early participator of Climate Friendly Club, and I'm happy to be a part of Climate Friendly Travel Club. And all the best to Jeffrey, Jed, and Hans for this lovely venture. Thank you so much.
So that's Prerna and the EcoPlore hotels. And we're really delighted to work with those properties because again, they've got some great sustainability initiatives going on at those. And we believe that our audience will be really interested in traveling to these, again, quite sort of different destinations all over India as well. And one more partner.
Hello, I'm Tarek, the co-founder and CEO of Flokio.com, where we are using satellite data to quantify the tourism impact on the environment. We are very happy to support the Climate Friendly Travel Club, a club of like-minded people who fully understood the climate urgency and who are looking to take action. We hope that you will enjoy the launch event and that you will join the club.
And that's, I will say, he's far more personable in real life when he's not reading off a screen or something like that. But we're delighted to be working with Tarek and the guys at Flokio, because what you'll find again on our website is when you see a destination featured, we actually track with Flokio satellite data, which shows what are the levels of pollution, the levels of tree coverage, the levels of fresh water. All of that is shown. Why do we show it? Because it's the right thing. We believe that travelers should be informed and they should understand what the environmental impacts are in the destination that they're visiting. So we work with Flokio to highlight those environmental indicators. And it's really great because nobody else really uses that at the moment. Here's an example of it for Sri Lanka. So what you can see is it's got a human development score from 0 to 100. It ranks quite highly on 78. What percentage of their tourism GDP, what percentage of their GDP is tourism, is highlighted there. Environmental performance rank, sustainable tourism development rank. And here you've got a chart which shows the different sort of tourism indices like protected areas, urbanization, water pressure, etc. And it's just a nice thing for travelers to be more informed of the environment that they're traveling to. So in all, what we're saying to travelers, and our key message, and this is the one that we really want you to really get to highlight, is that our travelers compensate rather than offset. So typically, to offset a flight here, you know, I've done one which was from Manchester to Bali in economy, and this particular calculator was telling me that that's 6,954 kilograms of CO2, and you know, I can offset it for 161 euros. So I can just add that and just pay it, and then hey, I get to feel good. There's been no meaningful change. That's absolutely true. There has been no meaningful change at all. Maybe some trees were planted somewhere, but again, who knows where? And who knows if they're double counted or triple counted? We don't know. And crucially, your money is gone. When you paid that money, you never see it ever again. What we're saying is, instead of doing that, join the Climate Friendly Travel Club for 20 euros if you're a youth member, and that money is used for good causes. So we can set up more chapters, so we can train more graduate diplomas on sustainable travel and climate-friendly travel principles. And you get your money back in climate-friendly travel points. So if you buy a membership, if you subscribe for 20 euros for the year, by the way, then you get £20 worth of points accredited onto your wallet, which you can then spend with the climate-friendly travel partners who I mentioned just before. So it's a great way. It's like a circular economy, really. You don't lose your money. You get to spend it on more travel, and more travel to destinations that really benefit from the impact of tourism. So we believe it's a really positive thing for the individual travelers personally, economically, and environmentally, as well as being great for all of the destinations that we work with. And of course, by doing that, they're also supporting climate justice as well. So our offer for this year, this is the really important part that we want you all to know, is that members who come via you guys can join free of charge in 2024, but then from 2025, they pay just 20 euros a year. We're aiming to have 10,000 members this year, and each member will get the following. Exclusive discounts from climate-friendly travel partners, complimentary subscription to the Low Season Traveler magazine, which is a beautiful magazine encouraging people to travel during the low season periods, which is, again, the right thing to do, so we're not contributing to over-tourism. Exclusive access to worldwide travel guides. They're going to be part of the global climate-friendly travel community. They're going to have access to the Climate Friendly Travel podcast, which is our own podcast where we speak to different people in different locations around the world about the efforts they're making to be more climate friendly in their accommodation and in their areas. You get access to Ask Dodo, who is our wonderful little AI-powered helper who helps our travelers and members to learn more about eco-friendly properties and destinations, and anything they want to know about climate-friendly initiatives, they can ask Dodo and he is there to help. And he's super cool and it's very cutting edge, I can tell you. You get to earn points for complimentary stays at our partner properties. And you get exclusive access to our carbon compensator tool, which is launching in 2024. Should be launching in the next few weeks. We're in quite advanced stage with that just now. Where the money goes. This is another one that we want you to really pay attention to. And for every member that pays 20 euros to us after the trial, the chapter leaders, you guys, will get 5 euros for each member who joins. The climate-friendly travel facility to support the chapters, the diploma, the LDCs, the small island developing states and more, they get 5 euros. 10 euros goes to the club so that we can cover the costs of running the club and also support further club development and do some more great initiatives. It will be payable for you guys every month. So once you have members who are actually paying, every 100 members, you get 500 euros payable straight away. If you get, 10 members, then we'll pay you 50 euros straight away at the end of that month. So it's a great way for you to earn a little bit of extra cash as well. And that's a great facility. How that will work, the mechanics of it, is we're going to provide each of you with a unique discount code, which you can then give out to anybody who is interested in your circles and in your communities who'd be interested in joining for a free 6-month trial. They'll input that code and they'll get it for free. Nowhere else will anybody be getting this free trial. Everyone else and every other channel is not going to get it free. They're going to have to pay immediately from day one. So that's something that's completely unique to the chapters. And it's something that you can really take advantage of, hopefully. So in summary, we actively support climate conscious properties. We actively support the least developed countries and the small island developing states. We're all about climate justice. We're all about sustainable aviation fuel justice. And we are absolutely the right place for climate conscious travelers because we believe in creating a better future for travel. And remember, we are a social enterprise, and that means that 25% of all of our profits go directly towards supporting climate justice via the work of the SunX program, which Jeffrey outlined before. And we continue to lead the way in climate-friendly travel.